Greetings. I am Legacy Moon, and this is True Crime and Mysteries Scammer Addiction. Yes, I said addiction and not addition, because it seems as though there are a lot of people out there on this planet Earth who they like money and they like to make money, but they don't like to go get jobs to make money. They like to scam the people. And it is some terrible scams going on right now. And I'm going to let you know all about them. But before I do that, I would like to welcome back all of my current subscribers, my brand new subscribers. Go tell a friend to subscribe. Those of you who come and are not subscribed, and those of you who are here for the very first time, welcome to you all. Now let's get into these scammers. Over the weekend, I happened to be going through just different news items, and I saw one that caught my attention. And it appears as though if you live in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, Springfield to be exact, but still all over Atlanta, it is very easy to go and take someone's house. And I'm not talking about a house that, you're paying on and you've taken a second or third mortgage out on. I'm talking about people who own their homes and are coming home from the grocery store seeing foreclosure signs on their lawn, or having the sheriff's marshals there ready to sit your stuff out on the curb. Yes, these people of the metro Atlanta area, their property is just being taken without them knowing. And the people who are taking these homes seem to be entitled to do so. Now, are they entitled to do this? No, they are doing what has become known as deed thefts. And this is all basically because of web real estate. Now, what I found interesting in this whole thing is that you can simply dummy up some paperwork and send it over the internet, or sometimes walk into the official office, turn this paperwork in. It looks just like you own the home and that there are tenants living there that are not paying rent and that you would like to evict them. A lot of it is due to oversight of the clerks, the notaries there, They are just, we'll keep on with the word oversight, but people are coming in or sending in this fake paperwork and they are literally just notarizing it. So, of course, it looks official. It also turns out that there are a lot of loopholes that exist in the paperwork for eviction. No one really has to prove that they own the very property in which they are seeking an eviction for. I am going to insert this clip for you to look at, and it's going to tell the story of a woman who owned her home, and this exact thing happened to her.
This is a story about how easily a wrongful eviction can happen to Georgia families.
I just don't understand how the whole thing can happen. I really, really don't.
How the whole thing happened to homeowner Sheila Gibson in just one moment. But first, let's get all caught up on the trend of stolen homes. For nearly a year, Atlanta News First Investigates revealed the progression of property fraud across the metro, all connected to deed theft.
Right now, we're in a crisis.
Thieves stealing the titles to homes. Old Georgia law made it possible. Under that state policy to file or transfer a deed on a house, no identification was required. Simply put, the state did not require anyone to actually prove they own the very property they're filing paperwork on.
Sierra, honestly, I'm speechless. That's insane.
Here are some of the deed theft allegations we tracked.
Ultimately, we were credited for helping get a new state law passed, one that now requires proof for identification when filing deed paperwork. But since then, we've learned of a similar yet separate loophole when filing eviction paperwork. Turns out, no one has to prove they own the very property they're seeking an eviction on.
Okay, now you're all caught up. Sandy Springs' grandmother, Sheila Gibson.
It upsets me just to even talk about it because I feel so violated.
Violated because at any moment she feels she could be kicked out of her Sandy Springs house on Riverside Drive.
Although I'm not affluent, we kind of, did a lot of sacrificing to buy the house.
Real estate records show she's been the owner since 2020. Paying
$480,000. Okay.
She's the owner, yet when the 69-year-old pulled up to her driveway in December 2022, this sign was posted, scheduled to be evicted immediately by the Fulton County Marshal's Department. Magistrate court documents show deputies tried to execute the eviction once before in October too, but they were unable to gain access to the property. She has her faulty gate to thank.
Had it not been for that gate, we could have come home and all of our possessions would have been on the street.
The case, a complicated web of paperwork problems. The suspect, Michael James Bruff. Michael filed paperwork in the Fulton County Clerk's office claiming he was the agent of the Sandy Springs home, that the occupants had past due rent of $12,000. But remember, Sheila owns her house. She does not owe anyone rent, records confirm. What's more, the suspect even filed more paperwork alleging he'd previously served an initial eviction notice months earlier, claiming the defendant's failure to file answer in court should grant him possession of the property. Sheila says it's all untrue.
To me, it's so crazy how someone can just walk into an office, provide no identification. No one bothers to check on the computers that are in the office to make sure this person actually owns the home, if they have title. Nothing was done.
The alleged fake landlord was able to file all this paperwork without having to prove anything because state law does not explicitly require it when initially filing for evictions. As long as those initial documents are completely filled out, county clerks like Shay Alexander must accept it.
They e-file it, so it's an electronic process. They could be at their kitchen table.
Wow.
And they send it to us. We look to see if it's in proper form.
And so there's not even like identification, like they don't have to submit an ID?
Not at all.
They don't have to show a deed
that
they own the property?
Nothing.
It's the honor system, and the way it's all set up, there's no way for anyone to submit proof. Additionally, Georgia clerks cannot investigate eviction documents or interrogate anyone who's filing them either. Only later would a judge or jury decide the facts of a case. Although so much remains at stake, current law limits the clerk's role.
So you understand the weight of the reality of these situations?
I understand. I am the clerk of Superior Court. I manage all documents for Fulton County. So you're talking about, it's not paper for me, it's people's lives.
After Sheila learned about the wrongful eviction proceeding against her family, she got Sandy Springs police involved.
Welcome to the zoo.
Hey, good morning.
Hi.
Officers filed the now criminal case as fraud, swindle, confidence game. Sheila then filed a civil suit against the suspect. The court ruled in her favor after suspect Michael James never responded.
For the property in Sandy Springs,
He did not respond to our attempts to reach him either. However, he's now appealing Sheila's civil court win. But why? It brings us back to that complex web. Public records suggest Michael James is possibly living in Fort Pierce, Florida, with the woman named Tabitha Coates. A previous 2009 unrelated civil suit identifies the pair as a couple. Fulton County public records reveal Tabitha once owned the Sandy Springs house in question. Michael also previously lived there. Back in 2018, the home was foreclosed and auctioned off after Tabitha failed to pay her mortgage loan. At that auction, an LLC won the highest bid, buying the home, then years later, selling it to Sheila. This case gets murkier. Sheila's attorneys allege in court filings that Tabitha went as far as recently forging a new deed, transferring the house's title back to herself. The problematic paperwork,
It's taken until I lost my hair.
not only disrupting Sheila's peace,
I don't sleep well. I'm anxious all the time.
but also exposing a loophole in the law.
This is like a criminal's paradise. If it's this easy, this is very easy what this guy's done.
Since we started our investigation, Sandy Springs police officially charged Michael James Broff with perjury, filing a false document, and forgery. They have not found or arrested him yet. Meanwhile, the Fulton Clerk's office confirms they are working on a property fraud task force in Metro Atlanta. To learn how to protect your house, text stolen home to 470-777-WANF.
What the Fulton County is going on. Now, they're supposed to be setting up a task force, and hopefully the task force is going to be in Fulton County, and it's going to be a joint thing where they get together with other counties, and hopefully they're able to prevent people from turning in fake deeds, fake leases, fake any type of documentation. You know, I really hope that they do this soon, and I hope that it works out. Meet Janav Sanjay Kumar Patel, age 25, and his buddy over here, Alonzo Lee Waheed Jr., 27 years old. Now, these two individuals were arraigned on May the 20th, 2024 in the county of Inona in Illinois, and they've been charged with conspiracy to commit false pretenses. Now, it doesn't say how many counts, so since that's the only thing it says, I'm going to go along with one count. Now, here's what happened. There was a 72-year-old woman, and she was locked out of her tablet, like an iPad or whatever. And this was on May the 8th. The locked tablet displayed a phone number for her to call for technical support. Well, she calls this number, and the woman talked to someone who said he was with the Federal Trade Commission and that her accounts were compromised in an identity theft in a different state. They went on to tell her that her money wasn't safe in the bank and that federal agents would be sent by her home to pick up the money that she withdrew from her bank accounts and place it in a box. So these federal agents come by her home, and they were even driving the color car that they said that they would be driving. And they then took her money, which was a total of $40,000. And they came, this started on May the 8th, and they gave her, time to get to the bank to get the money because they didn't even come to pick it up until May the 9th. I think that's pretty bold because you do this and you give her, even though it wasn't, it was just a day, but that was enough time for her to maybe tell a daughter, tell a friend, they go to the police and set the guys up, So that was pretty bold of these two scammers to give her a day and all of that to go collect all of her money. Now, the next week, she received another call asking for more money to be given to them for safekeeping. Now, it's at this point that a family member got involved and realized the woman was being scammed, and, so they called the police. Now, this time, since the county sheriff is aware of what's going on, they sent an overcomer. They've sent an undercover unit to, be around the woman's home, and they observed these men coming, or scammers, I should say, to pick up this money, and it was put in the box, and they went on about their merry way. Now, mind you, in case I didn't mention, the police were able to trace the men because they were driving an out-of-state rental car. After the two men were arrested, one of the men admitted that they were part of a larger fraud ring that was being paid to pick up boxes of money from victims of fraud. There was electronic evidence found in the suspect's phone, and part of that electronic evidence linked them to the victim. There is an ongoing investigation going on at this present time, and they hope to recover money that was defrauded from victims. Now, of course, the article did not say that this victim got her money back, so, we don't know, and I'll just have to continue to follow up and look for updates and let you know what's going on with that case.
New tonight, an investigation into wire fraud earlier this month in Ionia County involving a 72-year-old woman leads to 2 men being arrested. Take a look. This is 25-year-old Janavel Patel and 27-year-old Alonzo Lee Wahid Jr. Both of the men from Illinois were arraigned this Monday, accused of scamming the elderly woman out of thousands of dollars. The investigation began when the woman was locked out of her tablet on May 8th, displaying a phone number for tech support. Investigators say she was told that her money wasn't safe in the banks and that federal agents would be sent to her home to pick up the money. Investigators also say it amounted to $40,000 and that the suspects asked her for more money for safekeeping. Patel and Wahid were arrested in a sting operation in Ionia County. They face conspiracy to commit false pretenses. The investigation is still ongoing. Digital evidence was recovered from their phones, and one of them admitted that they were part of a larger fraud ring. No word yet on when they are expected to be back in court.
Now we are going to head on over to Texas, where we are going to meet 23-year-old Muhammad Musmil. So on the 24th of this month, Mr. Musmil was arrested in Texas, and the police are warning people, and this is the Lakeview Police Department, they're warning the public of a scam that he has been committing, where he allegedly stole between $30,000 and $150,000. The police went on to say that he used scam tactics to scam a local victim out of a significant amount of money. Now, the reason why they are warning the public, because they know that there are a lot more victims out there. Now, the police, also, they gave their little warning and letting people know, if you are a victim of this scam, come on in, let us hear your story. They also gave some tips that will help you avoid scams. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read these tips to you, because, you might need to know them yourself. You might know these scam tactics, but need a refresher. Or you may have a family member who needs to know these tactics. And the first thing police are saying is to be cautious of unsolicited calls, emails, or messages asking for personal information and money. Always verify the identity of the caller or sender. Hang up and call back using a legitimate phone number. Don't be pressured to make a quick decision. Be wary if asked to pay via gift card, wire transfer, or cryptocurrency. Never share your social security number, bank account details, or any other sensitive information with unknown or unverified sources. And of course, if someone has been targeted by a scam, report it to your local authorities. You can also visit the Federal Trade Commission online for more information on scams and how to protect yourself from any of them. Now, since this is the internet, if you do visit the Federal Trade Commission online, I still caution you to be careful, because, you heard about those other scammers that were able to convince this lady whose computer was locked that, they needed her to take all her money out and send it to them. And they, of course, were saying they were from the Federal Trade Commission. Now, that's not the same thing as somebody verbally telling you as it is for you to, go through Google and look for them and go to their website. But I would still be careful and kind of just verify that that is their site that you're on. And that's all the information that the police had on Mr. Mohammed Mazmil. They don't have any bond information on him or like what the formal charges are. So, but I just wanted to, share that story with you. Next up, we have a Lowe's cashier, and she is accused of embezzling $17,000. Now, this is probably more or less theft than, a scam, but, moving right along. So in Memphis, Tennessee, a 39-year-old woman by the name of Bessie Owens was charged with theft of property worth $10,000 to $60,000. Yes, the loss and prevention people over there at Lowe's. You know who they are, the people who deal with theft and whatnot in the stores. They told police that she embezzled $17,731 from the store between the dates of February 29th, 2024 through May the 15th, 2024. The loss prevention officers told police officers that they had receipts and videos showing Miss Bessie Owens conducting fraudulent transactions while she was working as a cashier in the lumber department. That's got to be boring, but it's a job. According to Bessie Owens, she said, because she confessed when the police arrested her, and she said that she had been paid in cash once and received other payments through Cash App. Now, I don't know, since, I've never stolen before, I don't know how this works, but I have heard that apparently, people can go through the line and you underring them or not ring them up at all and pretend like you are, and they give you a little bit of money on the side. So, I don't know if that's what she was doing and how she was getting the cash apps. I don't know. It doesn't really go into that, but that's what I had heard people can do when they're working as a cashier. Since she was arrested on the 25th of this month and, waived her rights and admitted to everything, she was just taken into custody, and there has been no bond set for her at this time. So, I'm sure within the next couple of days, she'll be able to bond out.
A Memphis woman is accused of stealing thousands of dollars from her job. 39-year-old Bessie Owens is charged with theft of property. Police say she worked at the Lowe's home improvement store on North Perkins Road. They say Owens conducted fraudulent transactions as a cashier and embezzled more than $17,000 from the store. Lowe's provided receipts and video of the fraud. Owens admitted to the crime.
For the last story here, I am going to be speaking about Sean Kingston. Now, if you are like me, if you've heard this news, you were probably like, who's that? Well, apparently he had a hit song called Beautiful Girl. So I had to go on over there to my Apple Music and find it and listen to it and realize I had actually heard that before. Now, I don't know if he's had any other hits since then, because I saw where he had a whole album. But other than that, that's that on that. That's who he is. So apparently, Sean Kingston has a mansion in South Florida, and that mansion was raided. Now, the purpose of this raid was kind of connected to a lawsuit that was filed against him for allegedly not paying for luxury items. So now let's get into this lawsuit. In February of 2024, Verver Entertainment, LLC, filed a lawsuit against Sean Kingston, and they alleged that there was a breach of contract and some fraud after The rapper reached out to the company through Instagram. He wanted to purchase a 232-inch colossal TV and a sound system. Now, this equipment would have cost him at least $111,000, but he made a deal and promised that he would make promotional videos about the products with one of his friends, Justin Bieber, who he allegedly had a song with in the past. I think it was called Eeny Meeny. So at the time that Sean Kingston made this purchase, he hadn't even been working, and he didn't have any intentions on making the promotional content that he said he would do. And this is according to the lawsuit. Now, he had this contract with him where he agreed that in October he would wire $30,000 down payment before making the second payment of $47,827.16, as well as make the social media post, which would have been worth over $38,000. This would mean that, by the time, both sides fulfilled their agreement, he would have this TV and he would only be making a payment of $77,827.16, which is about $33,000 less than the original price. Needless to say, he did not fulfill the agreement. There was no first or second payment. There was no promotional videos done. Nothing. Now, after the raid of his home, he made a post on the internet that said, "People love negative energy. I'm good, and so is my mother. My lawyers are handling everything as we speak." Now, while his home in Florida is being raided, he's over there in California at the Air Force Base because he was going to be doing a performance. Needless to say, he was arrested and was not able to make his appearance. While Sean Kingston's home was being raided in Florida, his mother, who also lives with him, 61-year-old Janice Turner, was taken into custody. Now, her charges include 8 charges of grand theft fraud, organized scheme to defraud, and criminal use of personal identification information. The mother and son's warrant read that they did unlawfully participate in a systematic, ongoing course of conduct with intent to defraud one or more persons. Now, of course, I already told you about the bed and the stereo equipment. Well, it is also alleged that they fraudulently obtained a bed valued at more than $86,000 from the company named Marie, whose website said it designs and creates the world's largest luxurious beds. Then we have a Cadillac Escalade valued at $159,701,049, and it was fraudulently obtained from an exotic car dealership. It also, you're probably like, when is she going to stop? It also states that they fraudulently obtained jewelry valued at $480,000. Now, on top of all of these charges that Sean Kingston has against him, he has the nerve to be in violation of his probation. So there you have another charge. Now, in case you are wondering what he is on probation for, according to the records, he is currently on a 2-year probation for What do you think? Well, in case you can't figure it out, I'll tell you. It's trafficking in stolen property. Now, I guess it's safe to say that a family who commits crimes together stay together, because in 2005, Miss Janice Turner received a federal conviction for bank fraud, and she was sentenced to 16 months in federal prison. Now, Janice Turner has already appeared before the judge in reference to bond, and during her appearance, the judge stated that several conditions had to be made before she can bond out. The judge must approve the source of funds to ensure that they were not obtained illegally under a legal stipulation known as NEBIA requirement. And this is, it's intended to prevent the use of ill-gotten means by criminals to be released from custody. Now, her attorney feels like she's not a threat to the community, and, these little things that the judge are imposing is very excessive. I beg to differ, because anytime you're taking things that don't belong to you, such as money, people's identity, items, because you are literally, you're messing with people's lives and you're messing with the community. That's my small editorial. I mean, this woman she's facing, 8 counts of theft and fraud when you pull all of the things together. So, like I said, she won't be released until the judge is satisfied with where the money is coming from and all of those things. And her bond is $160,000. I'm sure there'll be plenty of news and updates on this story, and as I come across them, I will report them to you. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention that Sean Kingston will not be going anywhere. He will be sitting there probably until his violation of probation hearing, and then I think they'll do the bond. I think, if I can remember correctly, that's how it works.
Rapper Sean Kingston and his mother both taken into custody, allegedly stealing more than $1 million. Thanks again for joining us here on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. I'm David Ono.
I'm Ellen Leyva. Sean Kingston was arrested in San Bernardino County just hours after his mother was arrested during a SWAT raid of their Florida home.
And that was news reporter Ashley Mackey joins us now with more on the charges being levied against the singer and his mom. Ashley?
That's right, Dave and Ellen. Sean Kingston and his mother are both facing several charges related to fraud and theft. On Thursday, we reported that the two were arrested. In an Instagram post that's been since taken down, Kingston wrote, "I'm good, and so is my mother. My lawyers are handling everything as we speak." Well, today, his mother, Janice Turner, stood before a judge. He's being held at the High Desert Detention Center in Adelanto, California, after a SWAT team raided his Florida home mansion. It was there in South Florida that his mother, 61-year-old Janice Turner, was arrested on fraud and theft charges. Turner and her attorney appeared before a judge Friday morning. She faces 8 charges, including grand theft, fraud, and organized scheme to defraud.
Criminal use of personal identification information. Count 7, grand theft greater than $100,000. And count 8, criminal use of personal identification information. I do find probable cause.
Kingston, whose real name is Keyshawn Anderson, was arrested without incident in San Bernardino County. He was performing at a park in Fort Irwin, more than 30 miles outside of Barstow. Several items were seized during the raid on his home in Florida. An attorney present during the raid filed a lawsuit against Kingston, accusing him of paying only $30,000 for a 17-foot TV system that cost $150,000.
He has basically a sales pitch that he goes through to defraud people. He induces them into giving him really expensive things. We know that our property is inside this house right here.
Janice Turner's attorney asked the judge to consider dropping the bond amount from $20,000 each count to $10,000 each count. But given that Turner has been charged for similar crimes in the past, the judge found the bond amounts appropriate. Reporting live in studio, Ashley Mackey, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
I would also like to apologize for the barking dogs. They saw someone clear across the field running, and they made it their duty to bark at them. So I was going to edit it out, but I said, no, it's just a teeny bit, so it should be okay. I thank you for listening, and once again, I am Legacy Moon. And if you are not subscribed to me, you want to go up there and hit that subscribe button and then hit the notification bell so you know when I drop my next video. Also, share the video. Let other people know that I exist. And as I always ask you, please, please, please make sure you thumbs up this video and get me in the algorithm nation.